Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another spiritual motivational speech with yours truly, Mr. J. Brown. This is the second part of our message of lesson in a lesson. This one is entitled Growth, Development, and Understanding. We hope this message is encouraging to you, but the mission is to educate you, appreciate you, and empower you. So please, hope you get these words and you understand what we're talking about. Hope you're encouraged to take the meat and throw away the bone, because only dog eats bones. But I want to give you some insight on how to get your good holy direction back, or to maintain it, or if you don't got it, let's get it. So, last week we talked about the root and the start. What is the start? The Genesis, the beginning, where we come from. Basically where the seed starts to get nurtured and the water starts to make it grow and it starts to blossom into what it's supposed to be. And if it's a rose seed, it goes into becoming a rose. And the process of how it comes from seed to now a beautiful red, white, or pink rose. Now, through that process of nurturing, and we go through the process of growth. We grow, like I said, learning the ABCs, the basics, the fundamentals of the basics. ABCs, 1, 2, 3, how to add, subtract, multiply, divide, reading, writing, arithmetic, the basics. Also, in like I said, if you find family dynamics and things of that nature, you learn how to you learn the values of life, the values of your home, the morals, and the things that instill in you to make you you, that make you able to play chess and get through the game of life and live it fully every day. So with growth and development, we learn in 3 ways. In those 3 ways, we learn through experience, which is the greatest teacher. The next is by watching or seeing others go through those things, which is definitely sometimes we miss a step in that, which is definitely the second most popular way, because you might miss how they handle it, and you might handle it differently, but at least you have the basics. And the last one is being told, someone telling you on how to go through life. Some people, like for example, some guys who may have experienced, like myself, having a business where it was definitely a danger, a risk. The risks were high. Being able to now go to someone and say, this is why you don't want to do that, or you want to make sure that this is not good. But you can watch others go ahead and be carried off in the silver bracelets, or you can experience the destruction in sometimes in certain cases that you may cause. And that is what made me grow and develop and say, this is not what I want to do. This ain't me. This is not who I am. That's why I had to, let me at that time when it was by any means necessary. I had to eat. I had to make sure that the bills were paid and that things were sufficient for me to live at that point in time. Make sure family things were taken care of. So, but in that growth and development part, let me just talk about that for a second. I seen the things I seen the good, bad, and the ugly. And so some of the experiences I had coming up through school and all that, college and everything, it's like, well, now I got to utilize those skills. And now it's like, well, I can't. This is a double-edged sword. You can't serve 2 masters. You're going to be out here destroying when you're trying to build. I mean, I understand that. I had to understand during the time when I was, in the business, I was looked at. The money was good. Oh, definitely, money was wonderful. But the destruction in lives that was causing me to look at things differently. And not just theirs, my own. It's like it's. I mean, I'm the type of person, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it the best of my ability. And so, but at that time, even though my best was the best, it was like the worst came out. It made me think, it made me become more aware. It made me definitely, some of the things we're going to talk about in the next part 3 is going to be good, because it's safety, security, and asset management. But watching those experiences, I've seen some of some of my counterparts who may not have taken the advice be in situations where now we got to question the freedom. Now, I don't, like I said, my thing is, if you're minding your business, I'm minding mine, we ain't got no, hey, that's it. But making sure that I understand, you got to play chess in this game, in that game, but in life, period. But now that my thing is, I'm tired of playing that game of chess on that end because the risk is it's tiresome. Yeah, I'm tired. No sleep. It's the pettiness of it, and also, like I said, you make good, wonderful, but it's just the cost of lives you may be losing, and not just the lives, the spiritual lives. Ooh, that's the most important: the spiritual and the mental and the physical. But when you see somebody spiritually dead, you're like, oh wow, I can't do that. And you're supposed to, what I'm saying. Then that's why I'm talking about the transition. When it hit me, like I said, when I sat down, I bawled. I'm talking about I cried so hard this day. It was like that's when it started to transition in my mind and thinking like, hold on, Jay Brown, what are you doing? Jasmine, what are you doing? This ain't true. And people who know me will look at me and say, well, or hear things and say, Jay, what? Who? Jay Brown? Who? He was doing what? And those are the things that you have to look at, especially when you have your advisors or former advisors look at you and say, Jay Brown, what's going on? And they look at you like, wait a minute, this is, we expect more from you, and sometimes you have to get that kick in the butt and come back to reality and remember who you are. So you have to grow in that process. So, and like I said, again, there's different phases of life. You get your baby, adolescence, now you go into adulthood, and now you go into your senior year. But when you changing, when you go into that, you have to stop speaking as a child. When I was a child, I spoke as a child. I played as a child. When I became a man, I put those childish things away. Now, I had to change the way I talked to people. I had to change the way I dealt with people. In order to do that, I had to isolate. I had to get to know me first. In order to grow, okay, all this stuff we're talking about in church, now take the time to reflect and meditate and be able to not handle the situation and go back into the battlefield renewed and rejuvenated. So now it's in that sense. So now going into now being who you were supposed to be, and taking on the things that you're supposed to take on, you can't be over here doing. Still, even though they're not a part of your business or part of, you still represent them. It's still a representation. Even though my father is not here, I still represent him. You know what I'm saying? I still have the legacy to maintain or carry on. You know what I'm saying? So I still have to walk. I mean, like I said, I got today primary season. Nina Turner's going. I represent her in a way. So therefore, with the Terry Butlers and Dr. Lawrence Simpsons, the Dr. Loves, those educational and philosophical doctors who molded and changed, they all are represented because they taught me so much. They gave me opportunities. Okay. So you got to make sure that when you develop now without developing that growth. Now you may learn your math, your basic math, but now you got to go to the other side where it's a little deeper. You may have geometry and how you use that. You might have trigonometry. You may have calculus. You may have all these different elements to the math that you learn. So now let's sharpen your tools so you become better. So I had to sharpen my tools, and like I said, I come from different backgrounds of being a customer service, STNA, learning nursing and taking care of people. Had safety and security officer, working in the hotel, working in the banking industry. All those experiences. Now, if I had to fine tune and read during those times, I've seen that why don't I have that career? And I said, wait a minute, I'm training you up for such a time as this, meaning that I'm giving you the experiences so that when you run your own, these are the elements that you have to have inside of them. These are the elements that you must maintain. You have to make sure you have quality. You must have customer service. You must have safety and security. You must manage your money. So all those things came about. Now New Legacy understands the quality of service we must provide. And also, hold on. Don't forget the spiritual base that you must maintain. I thank my mother and father for making sure we had a religious service every Sunday. But this, as you grow, your spiritual side has to separate from the religious side. Catch it now. Make sure you understand that part. There's a difference between spirituality and religion. Very big difference. Religion is you sitting here, you go to church, you have a pretty much a routine. We do this religiously. This is our tradition. We go to church every Sunday. There's power night on Tuesday. We have choir rehearsal on Wednesday. You have a tradition. But with spirituality, you understand you are the creator on earth. You are Adamah. You are Adam. You are the man of God. Or the woman of God. So you create your destiny or you create your destruction. Which one you gonna choose? At one point, I chose to choose the destructive part of it, and like I said, a very short time at that. Because, like I said, God will show you so much. And like I said, I come from the hood to the good, but there's one section and part of my life where it was like, wait a minute, hold on, this ain't where I want to be. Yes, you got everything you want. But then, like I said, big home, nice car, movie star. But it's now, okay, let's go down in this valley and find out. Do you remember when you was over there eating potatoes? You had only a bag of potatoes when you was over there on 93rd, 99th and Olivet, where you were making French fries on one day, home fries on the next, mashed potatoes or when you had to make sure, when you were smoking a cigarette, you had to go over there, can I get a cigarette on credit? You know what I'm saying? Not knowing, remember those days that you had to struggle, and not just going through the struggle, but getting through it because we had the tenacity to overcome any adversity. So now, going through the good, going back to the mountain, coming to Cleveland Heights, Bridgewood, or North Shaker, now sometimes you forget. Or you never lose the lessons or the understandings you learn. You just kind of like you don't use them no more than learn, but we had to knock the dust off of them a little bit. And understand that you still. Let me see if you learned that. We had to refer back to. We had to test you on that again. Make sure you're ready. Make sure that's something you never forget. It's like riding a bike. You'll never forget how to ride a bike. You'll never forget how you tie your shoe. Sometimes you have to revisit them. We might wear slippers with no shoestrings in them. But one day you might have to put that shoestring in there. Let me make sure you remember. So let's go back to the spirituality and the religious of things. So that religious, you have that routine. But when you're spiritual, you understand now, let me utilize everything I have or have access to make my life one with God. See, with religion, you have an intercessor, you have a secretary. That's not I say. This is on you. This is on you. Read the word. Have a special connection with Him here to make you understand. So, when you start to understand that the parallels of the Bible to your life or the Quran, however, whichever one you read.